Perfect.
All right. When I finally get myself sorted, this screen will be shared.
We have someone in Australia joining us, and it's 3 a.m. there, if what I'm reading is correct. So that's
the draw
proper dedication. A very big fan of Carlos's.
Everybody loves a chart. Charts and Carlos. Right. I think this is happening. You can see my screen, yeah?
Yep.
Super. Let's get a show on the road. Yeah, you'll have to tell us about your arm when I hand you over, Carlos. Right, let's get a show on the road. I'll get my talk done, and then we'll get to what we're all after, especially those of you calling in from various time zones and stuff. But Carlos is here. I'll hand over to him in 5 to 10 minutes time for the real deal. So I won't say much more than that, to be honest. So I've just got to get on with some announcements. I've got tons of announcements here for upcoming events. So for those in and around London or whatnot, next week I am presenting about Lambda functions, in person only. So no recordings, no online, it's strictly in person. Details on the event page. So obviously there I've just written like Nigel Frank International. You can find out where that is on the event page if you're interested in coming. I know there's a lot of people on this call right now who will be there. And then, how many weeks is that? Maybe like 2 weeks after. John Peltier, who's here with us, he will be at the same venue, in person only, to do some chart stuff. So live and in person, if you want the real deal. And it's always good to sit down, network, share, have a drink, and all that stuff. So that'll be awesome. That's another Wednesday. Most of our in-person stuff is Wednesdays for reasons which we don't have to get into. A week after that, we're back online. Got Ken Paul's. All this stuff is on the meetup page where you can find more details than what my slide offers. That will be online, just like we are with Carlos here today. Federico is here with us today. He's up next. That's an in-person event. Venue to be decided, because our usual venue, which is not Nigel Frank International, is in the process of moving to a different office. So it depends, because there's work to be done, whether that's delayed or not. So it's a bit on hold as to whether we'll be between two different venues, sorry. But it's definitely going in. That's definitely going on, sorry. We've got a KPI feast on that date. That's a Tuesday. Next up, we've got Mark, who's here today as well. That's an online one. Mark's presented twice, I think it's twice, for London Excel Meetup group, but only in person. So he's never done an online one for this group before. So that'll be cool. Topic to be decided. But yes, date is in there. Then we've got the kind of special Munich, the special German event, which some of you may have heard about on the kind of socials and all that stuff. So taking the London Excel Meetup group elsewhere is pretty cool. Once again, in person only. So if you're in around Munich or you fancy a holiday for a weekend, it's on the Monday, so it works beautifully for a weekend if people want to see a bit of Munich and travel, and then only one day off work, so to speak, on the Monday and then fly home kind of thing, which is the sort of thing I'm doing. So that'll be awesome. Loads of presenters. I'll be presenting there. Various other people will be presenting at that event. Will be pretty special. And then a few more details to be decided again, but it's an in-person event, this last one. We've got Henk and Michel coming over from the Netherlands. Probably a DAX topic, not exactly sure what. I've got a meeting with them tomorrow. But yeah, that date is locked down, no venue yet, but that'll be in-person only again. So tons of in-person and online, trying to do both each month. Not always possible, but yeah, 2 in-person ones in October. Munich and then London, like the week after that. So yeah, all the details are on the meetup page. Go check them out if you're interested. RSVP, all that stuff. Book your train tickets, book your flights, all that malarkey. Next announcement is for a course that Mark Proctor, who I'm sure many know, he got a mention there because he's presenting in a couple of months, released this Office Scripts course just a few weeks ago to automate Excel everywhere. So it's a course that I'm taking. I'm about halfway through, I think. I'm probably slightly under that. Mark can probably check my progress. Really cool, really useful. I've barely done anything in Office Scripts. Before this, I was quite interested in taking it and getting myself into gear in that world. I do a lot of VBA. I've got VBA courses and stuff, but I've never really touched like kind of Office Scripts. Done some JavaScript for a lot. So pretty new to me. Brilliant learning. You don't need to know VBA or anything to take this course. It's very much aimed at the beginner to programming. And yeah, automate Excel everywhere. It works on Windows, works online, works on Mac. So it's literally everywhere, and tied in with Power Automate for cross-platform automation. So there should be a, cheers. Thank you, Tara. Link got into the chat window if you're interested. And Mark's offering a voucher code there, LEN100, to get yourself a $100 discount if you're interested in getting on top of this new technology that automates Excel across, every single platform from desktop to online, and even those Mac users. And you love them. So get on that. Last thing to mention before Carlos can finally get involved, this is my usual slide. So primarily aimed at those who might be new to this group or these events. But we are streaming live on YouTube at the same time as this Zoom call. So that is recorded as well. The link for that is in the event page. So that same link is the recording link as well. It's streaming now and will be recorded. If you have RSVP'd to this event, which hopefully you have, then you will get a follow-up email, possibly tomorrow, and that will also have that recording link. If Carlos has anything to share, that will be in it. I'll probably put Mark's course in it. Anything else that needs mentioning. So make sure you've RSVP'd if you want that follow-up link for any materials related to today and what may get covered today. Who knows what will happen? We'll try and make sure they're included in the kind of follow-up. And that is that. Let me stop my share. And Carlos, if you're ready, it's what everyone's come for time.
Carlos, you may need to unmute yourself.
On mute. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Tia. So let me just make sure something here real quick. Just want to, before doing that, is this? Yes. All good. Okay. All right. Now I'm about to share. I just want to confirm something, Tia or Alan, that when I zoom in, is it working? So my zooming with Summit or no?
At the moment, I don't see you zooming in.
Okay, how about with the, okay, so maybe with Control-4, maybe? No,
yes,
neither?
That works. Yeah, that works.
Control-work works. Ooh, okay, but it's not live Loom, so okay. So I that's what I suspected. It doesn't allow live Zoom, but it does work with the other one. Okay, no worries. We can still work it. I just got to remember it's Control-4. All right. Okay, so you're seeing there one of the finals, the last dynamic or example of combining dynamic arrays or spill ranges with charts. But here, for example, maybe you guys seen this on LinkedIn. Here you can highlight it and everything, or you can also as well deactivate the tooltip, because this is what happened the other day. And maybe I just want to select the range of year and the chart will adapt. So what's kind of like driving that? What behavior? Well, this is somebody recommended me start from the end and then go back to the beginning. This formula right here that we're gonna review in this Control-4. Now it's zoomed in, yes, yeah. Or yep. Yeah. Okay, so you can see a formula there using the mod function and the sequence function that kind of like helps to make that. So I'm already revealing you the inner mechanics of what makes this possible for the spill ranges to be elastic. Okay. All right. So now, thank you guys for the opportunity, and thank you for presenting this. A little bit of myself is, and let me go here. I just consider myself an analyst. I stay away from titles like data scientist or data engineer. I don't know, for some reason, just brings my imposter syndrome. It just rings it, and I don't like it. So I'm just an analyst. I study economics, but then the way life just put me as to be a business analyst to start my experience, and then from there I just been an analyst ever since. And now in the last 8 years, I've been working as a consultant, and then on the last 7 years with Power BI. And that's a bit about myself. I really don't like to talk about myself too much, but there you can find on my website, which is Spill Graphics, you can find more about me. So Spill Graphics, and the name is Spill, from Spill Ranges of Dynamic Arrays and Graphics. And now I do want to take the opportunity, and I'm glad that Danielle is present, because a little bit of history. And let me just it's not working. Maybe go here. Oh, it's on the other page. Can everybody see it here? I'm here with Danielle. Yes. All right. Just check out the day of this. The day is May 20 or May 3rd. Maybe just scroll down here. May 3rd of 2020. And we were talking about dynamic arrays and the future of it, like what was going to happen with financial modeling and all this and that. And I remember well that I was telling her, I had so many ideas with charts. Like none of this stuff had already happened. I started making charts from that day, from May 3rd or after that meeting, maybe. And I did have a couple, just two examples about it. But I do want to thank Danielle, because I remember that time that we talked, and I remember, there's a great possibilities of combining spill ranges with charts. All right. So I wanted to add that. And now let's just put this back to here and go. All right. So before and after, just to give some context about why maybe we should care about, the spill ranges effect. It's because before we would just make a chart like that, and that's how it's connected. You can also tell, this is not the best guidance there, but on the formula bar, you can have a chart be plotted like that to that range and stay there. But the only bad thing about that is, like, if you add a new data, and you add a number here, maybe smaller than that, like that, then that's it. You have to click on the graph and adjust it again. So you can see 2002 there, new, added, right? That I didn't like that, when I started Excel, but then I started using tables. So tables was like an upgraded version, and what table offered me is, like, now if I add the year of 2024, and I add up some, you can see the chart already expanded. I have a white space there, and I added just maybe a bit of like a number there within the range, and then you can see I just added it, right? The cool thing about table is that you can add table slicers right here. Where is it? Can see table design. So you can see you can add the insert slicer right there. Like, I hope you can see it, and I'm gonna step back. And the cool thing is I already added it. And just in case, guys, I have a little of an accident in the morning, so that's why I had to change directions here and say, I don't have my hand to be doing control and doing all the keyboard shortcuts. So I had to this is how we're gonna play it out. Many of the stuff is already built, but I'm still gonna do something and edit some formulas. The cool thing about tables and adding a slicer from a table, not from a pivot table, that's important to mention. There's a distinction, is that once I filter this, my chart adapts, my table also adapts. But the only thing I didn't like about this approach is that it kind of hides rows. You can see that right there, row 12, and then it jumps to 25. That I didn't like, because the only reason, if I'm going to take this out, is because potentially maybe I want to put something here, and I lose it visually. So that's why I was like, okay. So then what's the upgrade to this? I still did some charts with this approach, but I did pivot tables. So I think I cannot see the slicer on it. No worries. Let's just add it real quick. Here, add slicer. There we go. Okay. What I like about this approach is that, from that table, I create a pivot table. I pretty much do the same on this. And just in case if you guys don't know, pretty much if you have it set it up in this way, the classical way, and it's not changing for some reason, but you can undock it real quick. And you can also, well, I don't know what's happened. Everything happens live, right? And never never happens on where you're working normally. You can just put years on the row quadrant. And Ellen, just to confirm again, can you see me drawing or no? No
yes,
drawing.
you're drawing, yeah.
Yeah, the red lines, right? All right, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just resembling the year, and I'm just putting on the row quadrant, and then the sales value, I'm putting on the values quadrant, okay? Just replicating the table. But now with the pivot, the slicer, now if I do this, look at this. Now the chart adapts, my pivot table adapts, but I don't get hidden rows. You see 6 through 12 and then 13. I like that effect. But the only negative about this approach is that it's a pivot chart. And pivot chart, unfortunately, have many limitations. It is the reality. But the other thing about pivot, though, just to rescue something, is that pivot charts can become power pivot charts, meaning that we can bring DAX engine or DAX formulas into the chart, and we can start making interesting stuff, but we're still a little bit limited. Here, you can do, for example, like this selection, and maybe add the last 4, because maybe you just want to skip, for some reason, the middle of those periods, Okay. You can have then non-adjacent selection, okay? Non-adjacent multiple selection with pivot charts, okay. You can have also the same with tables, but with the static ones, no, not at all. But what about the limitations of pivot charts? Can we overcome it? And that's, I think, where the goal comes from dynamic arrays and spill ranges, that we can combine them. Now I'm just going to deactivate this, maybe put it over here. And now I just recreated the table. And here you can see the example of maybe we can just bring our screen a little bit there, so that way we are focused. Okay, there we go. So I have the table here, but now, for example, I have my table slicer here, and I can say, you know what, give me all these years, and this is all spill ranges. This is on the back, dynamic arrays. Sorry for the sound of the plane, if you can guys hear it. I live nearby the airport, and now here I'm doing multiple selection that is non-adjacent, okay? And it's also grabbing it. If I click on the chart, it's pointing out to these spill ranges, and now let's go to them. Let's understand what's happening here. Well, the first thing is that we have to create a table, okay? And then maybe just get here, and then you know what? I'm gonna do the zoom with the Excel better. I think it's much better, more controllable. Okay, so the first thing is I create a spill range out of my table. And I'm going very basic on this example because I don't want to use a huge table. That way you don't get too intimidated. Let's just use it with the small, tiny data. And then here, I'm grabbing the years, okay? I'm using the unique function, but check this out. See how it's kind of difficult to read the formula? This is a tip that I haven't seen documented. If somebody knows, that if you color the cell, okay, in gray, then when you go edit, the area of that expand. Let me just do a higher contrast color, maybe a yellow, so you can see. And now look at this. the size of the cell expand itself. That's kind of cool because in a way, it just allows you for the legibility of the formula. I never seen this documented. I just kind of noticed it on these small projects. So now I grabbed unique, and on the table, I grab all the years, but I'm also including the header. That's why you see all these crazy nomenclature with hashtag all and double brackets, okay? Why is that important? Because you can reference this, and then again, part of the job a little bit with working with this is that it might lead you to start referencing a lot of your spill arrays. And that's worth it because in a way it's documenting your work. And if your work is documented, it's just going to pay off dividend later to find the stuff, to optimize it, to edit it and all that. I'm documented, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for this one, I documented as I believe, looking at the A right here. Maybe I'm just going to back out. and I believe AV. So AV is this one. So number 5. Okay, I give it a name. The name that it has is this one right here. Years for PT of pivot table. This is all the inner mechanics. Okay, I reference this, and now if I go to this pivot table, which is this is the back end. If I go there and click check the source data, there you see it right there. Oh, actually, my bad. It should have been to this one right here, but we can switch it, and then called in the years for PT. So how do I do that again? Real quick, you click here and then function F3, and then it brings you the pest name window, and then here you're gonna select this one right here, PT. Because of that, okay. And then nothing really changes because I just swapped something that I had to do before. So my apologies on that. Okay, why is this important? Because then you can have a massive data set, a massive table, like 50 columns, 10,000 rows, or 30,000 rows, or maybe 100,000 rows. But if you do and make a pivot table from the data set, it will create a cache or cache. I don't know how you pronounce it, my bad there. But it will make a photocopy of that data set, and the pivot table works from the photocopy, not from the original source. That creates bloat on your file, so size or megabytes. And then it's not wrong, it's not wrong, but if you want to save that bloat, and for this sort of work of dynamic arrays, then what you can do is like, let me just grab the unique values from the table and then reference it and then connect it to a pivot table slicers. So then again, the pivot table slicers is working from that reference spill rate. And that's the first one that I did, okay? Because that's what you have here, sorry. And now comes the most important, the first fill range. And here, this one, okay, you can see how it expands to the gray area from the cell. That's kind of cool. Here we have maybe matrix, and then we should also do matrix here. Okay, it's in Spanish, sorry. So I'm using the let function to sort of define this matrix, and then I'm putting it unique here, okay? Unique of the pivot table, because this pivot table can be elastic. It might, from a slicer, I might take off some years, or I might leave some, or I might reduce the array. That's why I'm putting it here. I'm defining it with the let function now, so I don't have to repeat unique or again over here, or maybe in other parts of the formula. Let is more. That's my theme. Matrix. Okay, now, or maybe we could have said this just to be more related to this, array and array. All right. For that array, I'm just gonna filter something good, something magical. Okay, I learned this from my girlfriend from Excel. It's fun, you know. And he thought about how can you filter. I think that the title of his YouTube video was how do you filter by list, or how do you filter by multiple selection? You know, usually you reference to a cell, but how about if you need 2 criteria, 3 or more? So then its number comes into play, and you combine it with X match. And the way to read this, okay, and the first part is this, the inner part right here. Oh, and just in case, guys, sorry, you will see my formulas are vertical because I just I went too extreme about it, and I just like it like that, and just relates to seeing code or DAX that is easier to read, and legibility is sacrosanct for me. So so if you see the formula, don't get it, it's easy, okay? It hopefully doesn't intimidate you. The X match, what basically is telling, hey, from what I have, okay, from my data, what from there is here on this array, which is from the pivot table, okay? Was from there in here. That's how way you can read. I mean, I'm trying to use simple words. And then it will return you true and falses. And then we convert those Boolean logic into zeros and ones with the is number. And that goes into the filter here, and eventually it returns you whatever the user is selecting based on here. That's one of the first inner mechanics of this. Pretty much when I learned this from my girlfriend, it just opened my eyes, just blew my mind, because It was like he was telling me a patch for the rest of the stuff for multi-selection, because it's usual that people will multi-select on their dashboard, on their data visualization and all that. And from there, it's just, that's it. I mean, you can consider this the backbone formula, okay? Because from there, and this concept is a bit of, I don't know, I don't want to say mine, but is that you make all the complexity into one array and the other ones just depend from that. So now this one right here, it's just a basic SUMIF. I could have used an index, yes, of course. But for this one, SUMIF, in case you have to aggregate data. And here the SUMIF is the, year with the criteria. Again, you can put a spill criteria, okay? And then the sales. Then last year, I'm just being fancy here. I just wanted to, hey, from the last year that the user selects, what's the maximum? And give me the value that correspond to that. The cool thing about NAs, and I love him, I think John Peltier might say he also loves them, is that they don't get plotted. They kind of serve as dummy variables onto your charts. If we were to go with 0 or blank, unfortunately, blank is translated to zeros in charts, and eventually 0 is being plotted, and we don't want that. So we have to go with NAs in this. And then the last one that I did here, it was, the thing is, like, when I use this array here, it's just, it kind of becomes redundant, seeing 2020 all over again. I kind of copy this from, like, and this is a tip that you can learn a lot about graphics from major journals like Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, New York Times, the Financial Times, the Economist. And usually you can tell a pattern there that whenever they go and work their axis is very clean. They don't include the 20s. They remove them and they leave an apostrophe, meaning, hey, this is about years, I think subtle. So I did that too with this formula over here. I think I'm losing my, where's the, can't see the, and now we're there. Why can I, yep, now we're back. Okay. That's what I did there. So I'm just going to zoom in real quick and, just take the last 2 digits from that and concatenate it with an apostrophe before that. Now that's it. That's pretty much it. Now, when I do this, I can control, and this is relevant. You know why? Nowadays, a lot of people are asking, take out 2020, 21, and even 2022. Those years are pandemic years. I don't want to see that. They ruin my models. They ruin my analysis. So now something like this serves because you can show you what happens before the pandemic and then do the last 2 years of data, and then you can still see sort of a growth. You're skipping 3 years. Of course, we're hiding information, but hey, if the user is asking for that for certain reason, and it's kind of valuable in that sense, of course, within context and not lying or hiding information, but at least the possibility is there with this function of spill ranges. I'll stop and make a pause here. Any questions until now? I haven't checked the chat, Alan, but if anybody has questions, I'm willing to take a break here, just a 2-minute break, and then we'll continue with a second example.
There's no questions in here at the moment, unless anybody adds one in. Do you think with the missing years that we should add some kind of annotation to let people know that there's a gap?
Of course, yeah. And you can do that, You can also work another spill range that can be based on multiple criteria, and then you can concatenate that with, I think, I don't think it's text split, but I think it's concatenate X, right? That you can, or one of the tools that you can sort of make you can separate it by commas. And then, I don't know, I forgot which formula is that one, but somebody can, it's text join. Yeah. I really haven't used it that much. But yeah. But yeah, of course, and that label, yeah, you have to be explicit. You might see on the next example that I add some part of my formulas that people ask me, why do you add this? I just like to be explicit. Ever since I came with the term sugar syntax in DAX, I changed. I say, you know what? I just, okay, calculate can do this and that, but sometimes I don't understand how is it possible that it's filtering this. So I added my if and all that, and it just makes it also legible for anybody who might audit this. Okay, I got sidetracked there, but I also wanted to be explicit with your visuals. Explicit meaning like annotate a lot. That's what Alan was saying. Annotate somewhere that 3 years are missing. And that's important for the audience, okay? What else are we here? I think I do wanted to give credit here just in case to this formula here. I think Eric Hartwig is over here, and I'm about to get this from him. So hell yeah, I'm gonna wear it, all enter. Happy formulas are legible formulas, okay? So I'm gonna wear it with a lot of pride on that. So thank you, Eric, for that small present. And I'm recommending him to get more, to start making more. So I don't know. Hopefully this serves a little bit as a promo here. So I think I have to go step back here. I think Control 4. Control 4. I got stuck here. No. So let me just maybe. There we go. We're back. Control, yeah, sometimes Zoom gets you a little bit, goes a little bit nuts.
Okay. Still get your shirt at the moment, Carlos.
There we go. Yep. Oh, I'm not sharing. Can you see the shirt? No?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys hear what I just said? Like, yeah, Eric is a president from Eric, and yeah, all enter spacebar all the way. So yeah, he's making these shirts, and I recommend that he should sell them, because legible formulas are happy formulas. Okay. All right. Now we go back to the workbook, and just in case, now we go to the second example, and this one. See, this one is important. We'll do a small example. We will make it very tiny. Okay. When you plot different lines, you have to go and plot each individual series. Okay. Each line is an individual series in the chart, okay? Now, with spill ranges, we can plot all of them with one array. One, okay? One, all right? Now, why is this important? Well, let's go and check out something that I have over here. Maybe let me just close this. I thought I had it open. And this will be fast. I already have Excel open. And this data set is the unemployment rates of the European Union from 1991 all the way up to 2014, in the sense that it's completed, okay? 2015, okay? Or actually August of 2015, okay? And somebody who I have learned a lot, like really a lot, plotted all these data. And look, I'm just gonna back up. He grabbed and plotted all that sea of data points that you're seeing there that I'm highlighting. He plotted it manually, because I know he did it manually, and the result was this. Voila. That's a chart that you would not think that it can be done in Excel. It looks, I don't know, maybe too beautiful. Wow, it looks really worked up in Excel. Yes, and Jorge Camoes is the author. And you can see each individual line is being plotted. But if I go and do the back end on this, maybe right click, select data, you can see each individual array. So he went and manually formatted each individual line. Of course, probably he might have a macro. And this is another approach, having a macro that kind of like formats all your lines really quickly, and then maybe manually you grab some of those lines and do something else to serve as a reference. Now we can replicate this, and we will try it here. Okay, I may fail, I just warn you, but maybe not. I already did on Sunday, and then it worked, and the spill ranges adapted immediately. And I'm just gonna use one array, okay? But for that, we need to understand one logic, okay? And I just wanna maybe jump here, and then you can see the same chart printed in 2 pages. Mwah, beautiful. It's a beautiful book that you should get, this one. Just gonna maybe this one right here, okay? Data at work, okay? All the charts were made in Excel, all of them. And the book is mine. Is full with theory, and also full with the practical stuff that is grabbing theory and then putting it into practice. All right. So in order to understand that logic, we have to go and maybe convert this data set into a table. Okay. And then that's what you have here. And then we have to unpivot this. Okay. We cannot work it like that. So maybe with B stack or A stack, maybe there's a way that we can put all this into one array. I think that is possible, greatly possible. I just haven't tested out. So I'm just gonna use Power Query here, and this is the result. Okay, we just unpivot it. We just grab this column and we put it downward. What would that happen? Well, it will make all the years, and then by Sarah Hill, by Rosa, by Lourdes, and all of that. And then eventually, instead of having just how many rows of data is that? 23. Now we have about 106. Okay. But this is the way to work with spell ranges. You have to work with tabular data, okay, in order for be optimal and also easier too. So now the first thing, and we already saw this, and maybe I'm just gonna back up. I see a lot of messages coming in, but I don't want to get too distracted. Hopefully, all right. Okay, so the first one, we already saw this from the previous example. I'm gonna get my unique periods, okay, my unique periods, because I don't want to make a copy of this, okay? I want to save up the cache or the bloat, and for this approach or for this work, okay? And then there are some cases where you actually want to combine the two. You want to combine the slices from the data set, from the cache, combine it with the dynamic arrays. It sometimes is way more beneficial. And maybe I'll show you guys an example. On this one, I get the unique with the header, okay? And then I reference that, and then I connect it to a pivot table, which you're not seeing it here, or, well, not yet. And then we will, for the tape, sorry, I get sidetracked here. So if I put it there, okay, yeah, you'll see in a minute. But for this one now, I'm just using this array is going to be different, and you will see why. Is because I'm just now doing the unique, but not with the headers, just my items from my table. That's it. And I'm repeating this process now for the attributes. For the attributes, again, unique. There we go. Okay, I didn't know that. So unique, and that's also gonna go into my pivot table slicers. And I'm also doing a unique of the items, but without the headers. All right. And now sort of the result of this is like this. Now I have plotted all the lines. Okay, there you go. But then I'm highlighting. Okay, I'm using sort of one of those arrays to do this highlighting. Well, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Let me go back. Sorry, guys. So the first array for all this to work is this one right here. And I think I already saw you at the beginning of the presentation, and probably you're already finding familiar that formula if you were able to see in close. And that one right there makes it all possible, makes an array to sort of go down. It kind of like a loop. I don't want to say a loop, but kind of like just bring each lines and just put it one under the other, one under the other, one under the other. And that's sort of the logic here, okay? Periods, the number of periods, the number of attributes, that's what I put an end there. And then with the mul function, which usually is used for the remainder, okay, of a sequence of multiplying the end periods by the attributes plus the attributes, so I can account for those break lines, okay, on the array. And then I want it to start from 0. And then divide it, or the mod function, the second argument is the end periods plus 1, okay? I'm just going to back out here, just in case I learn about this, okay? This function is not from me. I mean, I learned it from Mike Gervin, and I'm going to leave this workbook with Alan so I can send it to you guys. And the YouTube video is there. The title of the video is how to create sequential numbers, okay? 1 1 1 2 2 2 2 3 3 3, or maybe 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, when I saw this, it just was eye-opening. I was like, that it just like, wow, I think I saw God in that. So then he does have another video, okay, maybe I gotta back up here, of how to learn the mod function that he just came out yesterday. He has other videos explaining mod, but for some reason, some people get a little bit confused about the algorithm of mod function. He has just recently posted a video yesterday, and there you go. You will find it on this link, or maybe just check out the last video of Mike, and then on minute 4.8 or 4.58, you will find the explanation of what the mod function is, or how is it that he's getting to that result. Okay, just in case if it wasn't too clear from my side, and I apologize. And that's what it's doing here. From that, once we have the backbone formula, everything else here is dependent on that. Now, just in case, we're not plotting this and we're not plotting this. This is just for me to really quickly show you or breaking down the formulas in yellow because those are the ones being plotted. So for the very first one, I think right here, let me just maybe zoom in. Here from here is just very fast. Just in case I sort of skip here that I'm using, I wonder why. There we go. Sometimes this doesn't get colored. I'm getting the periods count of this one, okay? Not from the one that goes to the slicer because I don't want to include the header, just from that my unique items from my data set. And I do that account. And then that's what I'm using right here. Right here, I'm referencing those, and I understand why. Put a comma there. Now I can include that count, and I can include it here. Of course you can. Of course you can. And I could have done that, but here I just might want to keep it simple. And here, for example, again, the first part is just I'm getting the sequence. Okay, this part of the formula here is this right here. Okay. What is that doing, or what is that returning me? Well, if we go a step back a little bit, it's going to return me from 0 to 137. Okay, that's sort of the array that it needs. And then with the mod function, okay, right here, there, I sort of divided, okay, of the number of periods, and that's why we cannot maybe see it here. There we go. There we go. By the number of periods plus 1. That will give me this effect, 0 to 22, 0 through 22, 0 through 22, and it will repeat as the number of times of periods you have. So this is important because it will stop until, it will finish the count. Let me just now step back here and now go back. Now with the first function from that, now it's just basically, I wonder, there we go. It's just a basic if, okay? Now I'm testing, okay, on the backbone formula, if it's equal to 0, do NA. I don't want that plotted. Else go with the index of that, okay? Because that's gonna go 1 through 22, and then find me which position is the one from this one that is not being right now being colored. I don't know why the spill range. Maybe we'll check that real quick. But this one right here should actually highlight all this part right here. So it's just doing that. Why for here is kind of simple, but imagine if you have a massive data set, like way more years than this, and then it's better just to find, it's better to work with the index. It's way faster. Now with the attributes, now this one, again, don't get scared because it might seem complex, but it's not. It's super easy. Here, what we're doing here is that, okay, I'm using let because I don't want to repeat stuff. And then I define my number of periods, my number of attributes, my attributes, that's coming from a spill range. And I'm bringing that to this part of the formula right here. Maybe when I'm going to zoom in right here, sequence. We already know this. We already know what's happening here, but I'm bringing the int. Okay, because that's gonna give me decimals. Now, actually, the division is gonna give me decimals. Okay, and I wanted to get the integer plus 1. Okay, once we get that, then that's sort of becoming our 111, 222, 333, 444. And what is that? A position of the name or my attributes in this case. Okay, that's what it's basically doing. And I'm just bringing switch through because I could have done it with a nested if, but I don't know. Sometimes this is coming from DAX. I like switch through better. I mean, it's just more legible for me. And okay, and then the first sort of logical is asking, hey, from the backbone formula, is it 0? If it's 0, blank, because this one's not being plotted. This one can just be left like that. Eventually, what I'm seeing, you can see Sergio is right here, and then Rosa is here, and then Lourdes, and then all the way until it ends with the 6 people. I think here, this is the part of the division, simple division, but it returns the decimal, okay? Then with the in function, I don't know what's happening there. It just rounding it to the, in this case, to the, I forgot, with the lower or the upper. My bad there. I kind of forgot, sidetrack there. But you can see if it's 1.4, it will round it to 2. And down, it rounds it down. And then if it was 2.4, it will round it to 2, but I'm adding 1 to it. Okay. Why 1? Because it's more legible, or I find it more intuitive. Position 1 from your array of attributes, which is this one right here. Okay. There you go. Now part 4 and part 5, and we're almost done with this part. It's just, again, index, just to finding the person that is, and then just checking if it's 0, blank. If not, is that. Now with value is another formula that might seem intimidating, but it's not really. I hope not. Is that here I'm sort of putting valores, but let's do values because it's still from the Spanish session. I thought I corrected all of them. There we go. No, there we go. So values of what? An index, a concatenated index. So I'm concatenating 2 criteria. And the way to do that is that you do match and you concatenate your spill ranges to look it up on concatenating the 2 columns from your data. And then you do that and you bring that to the index, and that's your values right there. And now here I'm just being explicit and just saying, hey, if it's not an A, then proceed with getting the corresponding value. Else do an NA. And that's what you're seeing here. NA, NA, NA. Now you might see, how about those NAs? Well, the thing is that this person, Rosa, she didn't completely, she's missing those years. Okay. We can go back to real quick into the formula. And I do want to also give credits. That's what's happening here. Those NAs is because not all the lines are complete. Not all the lines go from 1884 to 2005. Okay. So just Cristiano is the one that solves onto 2005, So those NAs is because you kind of standardize the array for what's the complete set of years. And then for those that don't have for data for those years, it will just bring you an NA. Now, there's something here that I kind of want to give credit to because my friend Robert Montegill kind of told me that I told him about, hey, discovering this technique of doing the break line, from this array. You can see right here, Sergio is all of this, and you break it and then do Rosa, and then you introduce another break line and do Lourdes and all that. And he told me, oh yeah, John Peltier wrote about that. He's like, oh really? He's like, oh, and then I still haven't found the article, but he told me, but it was Robert, who told me, yeah, you use that technique to sort of plot multiple arrays into a scatter plot. I think we covered all of them. Now we did a part 7. Again, I'm concatenating the 2 arrays. I think maybe I'm just gonna zoom in. And now. Okay, now I concatenate those 2 arrays, sort of what I'm looking for, and then I concatenate where I want them to be searched. So I'm concatenating 2 columns from a pivot table, okay? Then part 9, you do the match. Then part 10, you do the index, and then part 11 is the if part. So I'm breaking down this formula from part 7 to part 11. So when you get the workbook, I hope it helps you to sort of understand this function and say, wow, okay, it's not that hard. I hope it's not that hard. I hope it doesn't really intimidate people. Not the goal of this. And not the goal to look fancy too either. It's just that, I just write it down because I found it more legible to see a formula like this. Now, okay, now we're done pretty much. Now we are plotting, and I'm gonna back out. A little bit. Okay. Now we're plotting this and this. These 2 columns is the ones that we're plotting here on this chart. But this chart is not a line chart anymore. It cannot be a line chart. It wouldn't work with a line chart. It can only work with a scatter plot right there. Okay. And because we have DNA as a break line, that's why we're plotting many lines. We're actually plotting 1 array, but visually, because of the break line, we're seeing many lines. And now, just as a side effect, we can now include a sort of a highlighting effect. So that way, I'm seeing all my lines now, but now I can highlight one, okay? And you can see that it will adapt, to how many data it has. So in this case, I'm choosing Rosa, but Rosa doesn't have data for the last years, only Cristiano. And then you can see that the chart adapts. But this highlighting part is right here, this one, that is probably the most dynamic. Basically is this, okay? I'm using the pivot table. Actually, here, that slide, that's a pivot table. And that's connected to one of the first arrays that I defined, that was this one, right here. This one, or the second one for this example. The very first one for the slicers is this one that we will see just a minute. And for this one right here, attributes. And let's go back to the formula real quick. And this is what's being highlighted. Maybe I can color this so that way you can make, yep, there we go. And then you can see all the white, right? It's kind of hard, but if I color the cell to gray, periods, okay? I'm defining periods and then I'm just in filter. I'm filtering from my spill range of values, whatever is equal to, and maybe we can step back a little bit here. So that way we can all see it. There you go. So now you can see right there, I'm filtering the blue column right there, which whatever is equal or whatever is there on the purple square or purple condition, BS5 equal to AZ A hash. Once I get those periods, then proceed with the if. Just being explicit here, you don't have to include it. You can be all good with filter and that's it. It's just me being a little bit explicit, overly explicit. And then the other one is the same thing, except that we only switch. Well, in this case, it shouldn't be periods. It should be values. Values, so that will make more sense intuitively. Oh, what happened? Yeah, that's why periods. Values. There you go. Okay, we're back. And Control 4. All right. And there you go. Now I'm just filtering from the values, not from the periods, but from the values. Okay. Any questions until now? That's sort of the inner mechanics. Do people? I would like to know. Do people find it too elaborative or maybe laborious? It is. I mean, but you do have a functionality that you can deal with a lot of data. Now we'll try it. We'll bring the data from Jorge Camo's example. Okay, all of these data, we'll bring it to there, and we'll see what happens. I'm loving that. Great. Oh, thank you, Alan. Thank you. If it was new to you, awesome. It's a cool cheap trick. I call it a cool cheap trick. But it's cool. I mean, it expands yourself, and because of contrast and color theory, it's easier to see the formula better. Okay. Any questions, Alan or Tia? Or
not really. I've asked in the chat if anyone has any feedback stuff to add. I don't think there's been a question aimed at yourself, Carlos. Okay. All right. So now here comes the thing. I remember. So spill ranges. Think of rubber bands. Okay. Think of like rubber bands. It is like that. Now you can tell me, hey, Carlos. Okay, now you're doing highlighting, and some of the arrays adapt to the certain amount of values of the person. But how about if you can filter the years? Aha. Okay, then we have the period that slices already, okay? And you can see here that right here I'm filtering this, okay? And the pivot table kind of adapts, to the selection. And now I'm going to deselect that. I'm going to bring my slicer here. I'm going to put it right there, okay? And now this little friend right here, we are going to put it somewhere. Maybe, actually, I got to do something here real quick. Just got to open a couple of one column. Okay. And here we just opened 1 and 2 and then expand that. And I think we should be fine. Bring this friend right here now. Over here, maybe I'll do this slow because I don't want to mess up. Bring it all the way to the... Okay. Oh, there we go. Yes, there we go. And I think
There we go. I think I gotta bring it one more. There we go. All right. Okay. So now check this. I have a count that is counting that. Okay. Remember that? That's important because it's counting a spill range. Perfect. And now there's another place where we're also depending on that. And I think it's on periods here too. Okay. So what I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna replace that part of the index, the AL7 hash, and I'm also gonna replace the other one from here. So let's do that. Now I'm just gonna swap it here. Nothing's gonna happen pretty much. And then on periods, I'm also gonna swap it for this. And now if I go back to my slicers and say, hey, just give me first 6 years. Yes. If this doesn't excite you, you have no soul. Sorry. I'm kidding. But this is awesome. Look at that spill range on the left side. It's adapting to the amount of years that you want. And this is all possible. And it's doing it fast, to be honest, too. See, I can also maybe I can even do slope chart. Maybe just 2 periods. Ooh, maybe 2 periods like that. Ooh, and you see it adapting the axis. And I'm still not using Mark Proctor and John Peltier UDF to be more sophisticated with the axis. Right now, I'm just using the way it's working, and it's working really fine. You can see it's really adapting real quick. So now I can play around with my time horizon and also with the person that I want to focus and analyze. So yeah, here you can see maybe I want to do the last years, and maybe not all of them are going to show up because maybe they don't sell in those years. That's a little bit of more of a little bit of something there that you can fix it if you bring the 2 slicers coming from a pivot table. The 2 slicers are filtering the pivot table, and that may work, but I haven't really tested out. You can only select one here just in case. Okay, so now final part of the presentation. How are we doing time, Alan? How are we doing time? We're good?
So I'm just trying to find the mute button. Yes, we're doing good, mate. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so last example. We are gonna try to bring the data from Jorge. Okay, we're gonna try to replicate this. I already done it, but maybe the Excel crashes. Okay, so maybe just to protect myself, I'm gonna close a couple of workbooks here so that way Excel doesn't betray me, and then close this because also they can call those into calculations. So we're good now. We close the data work too. That may be a heavyweight file. And all right, so we kind of highlight all this. Let's just give it EU data, a name, and then bring it to Power Query from table range. Compatibility workbook. This workman may compatibility. Well, yeah, see again, this stuff that never happens. This stuff that never happens on the normal day and it happens on live. I never seen that message. Okay, so let's just unpivot this real quick, really easy. I'll bring the header as first row, then unpivot other columns. And here I want to switch the order of this. This is important because we're just going to do a copy and paste. We'll do periods here. And then here I'm just going to do attributes and then value with just all lower. Okay, so we don't have trouble. And here I'm going to click one of them. I'm going to remove that. I know this worked. I didn't do it with the 12 a.m. And then convert that to a date. And I think we're done. We're done. So now I may bring this load to. Let's just bring into a new table. Just to a table into new worksheet. Yep. Okay. All right. Let me just you guys ready? Just wanna hopefully it worked, so let's do this copy and let's bring it. This is what the other thing I was kind of being generic. Before that. These might bring a lot of calculation unnecessarily. So we might bring this to here, call this out. Okay. The mount function and this explanation, maybe we can put it somewhere here. Okay. Bring this down. Because this was just for explanatory reasons. We don't need this. All right, I think that's it. We also have to remove this. Just put it over here. Maybe one more. Nope. Yes. Just put it right here on period because I know we're not gonna delete that. So these two also out. There we go. Nothing is happening. All right. So I think we're good. Yeah. All right, so let's bring this data that also, look how big when I unpivot it, okay? Look how many rows we have of data. Oh, 30,000. If I'm seeing a green border because of Zoom, but it probably says 30,929, okay? 30,000 rows. For a lot of people, a lot of folks, that's, some people call it big data, okay? For other folks, it's just small data, right? But we're gonna plot all that and highlight it, and Control C and bring it over here. And hopefully just paste it here. Let's see. Hopefully it's calculating, okay? You guys saw everything changed. Everything changed. Now I do have to go back to this over here, the count, but I cannot switch this. And that will do my counts, Control Enter. And then I think on periods, we also have to go back on this here, Control hashtag, hashtag Control Enter. And you know what? I did forget about to do something here. My apologies. On the UI data, it has to be sorted. That's one condition. Forgot about that. I'm gonna sort it right now real quick. Excel is calculating, potentially on its way to a heart attack. Well, hopefully not. But yeah, I forgot to sort it. But you guys saw how the spill range has adapted immediately. So, okay, we got it. Yeah, now go back to that and repaste it again. And it's calculating it again. Potentially another heart attack. We'll see. Maybe false alarm. Boom, boom, boom. Usually, I mean, when building this, you already save up your calculation, and you will see in a minute. Okay. Maybe I just want to make sure that I know. Let's see how the chart is looking. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, there you have it. But now we have to fix the assets, and this is where Mark Proctor's UFD and John Pelter comes into place, because we can fix it according to the UFD. We can connect it to a value of a cell that can be the minimum, the maximum of the spill range. And there you guys have it right there. I just plotted Jorge Camoes array chart with one array. Now I'm about to go and fix something here. I don't know what's happening. Lourdes. Oh yeah, Lourdes, and this will expand. Let's just refresh the table. There you go. Let's just pick Austria. And you can see immediately the effect of working with dynamic arrays and reference them to pivot table. Everything is connected. And I know that the biggest line is Greece. So I go over here, and that one right there. There you go, the top one. Now let's just play a little bit with this. Bring the weight to be, well, it was already in 1, and this one was a little bit already a bit thick. Maybe we can just lower it a bit. It was tell me, hey, you know, it might take a long to display. It does it fast. But now, here's the thing. I just replicated Jorge Camoes' chart with one array. And then if I look at the array, I'm plotting 38,000 points. 38,000 points. And I asked this to John Peltier, hey, you know, what's the limit? There's got to be a limit. And he told me it's based on memory. So you can plot way more than that. But of course, we do have a limit visually of 1 million rows. But I'm plotting 38,000 points or 38,000 points on this chart. And this chart also, maybe will this work? Let's see. I don't think so because I'm dealing with period here. Maybe where is this pivot table coming from? Maybe I can play around with that. Let me just make sure. Period. Yeah, we just gotta maybe refresh this. Okay. And now for the count, so swap it to be this. Control Enter. Might take a little bit to calculate. Yeah, Control Enter. There we go. Period. And swap it to this. Control Enter or Enter. And now I believe I have to unfix the axis in this again. The UFD of John, unfix this. Might make it a little bit ugly, but of course, these should be dates, but I haven't formatted them. But at least, see, it adapted within that time frame. You're seeing the unformatted dates format, but then again, you can see how, I mean, this is, for me, this makes my day. I mean, the fact that I can just play around with the chart, with the time horizon, and also highlight, I don't know, it just, it makes me very happy. And again, the possibilities, I think, are endless. I have come up with 43 examples, but I mean, this will be one of them. I just haven't had time to really sit down and make this. Okay, this I'll give you a guys sneak peek of what's gonna include. It include this, that with slicers we can select one line, we can maybe select two lines, but on Jorge examples that is also included on the book, he grabs this chart and then he presents like a small multiple version where you can see now couple of lines being the red, you know, beautiful. I mean, you can see those red. So now with the pivot table slicer, you will be able to sort of control, you know, what kind of segments you want to, or what, you know, the group of lines do you want to highlight, you know. And that's sort of that's sort of the idea on the back of my mind. I haven't put it out. I mean, I just have to test and eventually I hope it comes out. Another example I want to do is this slope chart with bar charts with targets of comparison, which he calls it graphical. The name was graphical. I forgot the name, but in Spanish is paisajes. Graphical graphical landscape, which is not just have one chart, but let's start combining charts. And everything comes from his example from Excel. He's doing slope and this one. And just to end my conversation, because of the example that we did, eventually, if this is done based through a scatter chart, a scatter plot, then we can do this with a scatter plot. We just got to think of some logics and do the lines of arrow. I mean, the lines will be lines. These might be arrow bars, you know, and then this might also be arrow bars. And then at the end of my talk will be all charts at the end of the day are just dots plotted. And I learned that from Camoes too. I mean, and that's it, guys. I'm all done here. I mean, I'm open to questions and I wanted to leave room for questions.
I was in the middle of writing notes there. If you got any questions, team, fire away. There's none in the chat at the moment, just nice comments. But we'll see if anyone's got a question.
Just in case, I'm also leaving links to the UFD because for something like that, with the maximum and the minimum for the axis, you do have to come in and bring your axis. I mean, I couldn't have it set it up here, but I mean, once you set up this, I think I forgot to delete this part right here. But then again, because of that UFD, then this sort of covers the line, really covers from the axis, and it just looks better. I can show you guys an example of that UFD, which was necessary for an example. But I wanted to address questions, you know, if anybody, because.
Hi, hello. I'm Stefano. I'm from Peru, but I'm
hi, Stefano.
Hi, I'm working here at California. I have just a quick question. In the column BF, when you type the word values, is because, or periods in that case, is because is the name of the table?
No, it's the name of the variable. Oh, yes. In this case, the pivot table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Is the name of for your variables, and then what is the value of that variable, and that's the filter part.
Okay.
So
the same with values, right?
Sorry. My bad. Let me just, maybe you're referring to this one then.
Yeah. In values is what? Okay. Is all that column, right? The column, I cannot see the BC, right?
BC. Yep. BC, because that's where my values are, but I want to filter what correspond to what is on BJ5, I think it is. BJ5, yeah.
But to have the name values, I need to call my table or that column values, right?
No, values is the assign name. So you kind of reutilize values into your formula.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. In the end, just make it simple, because I know LED can be a little bit revealing. So let me just do this. It's one way I show it to somebody, and he understood. I was like, oh wow, you can do it now. It's like he didn't know about this. So you say let A do 1, right? And then B, comma 2. And then comma, say A plus B. Should work, hopefully. And then that's it. It should give you 3. So now, but let's do my formatting, Sorry guys, yeah, you can call me, you're extreme about it. There you go. So boom. And then you go A, the value A is 1, the value of B is 2, A plus B, 3. And then that's, yeah. Any other ones, Alan? Or let me just check here the I saw a couple of messages dropping. I'm gonna try to scan them. Yeah, the file is gonna be available. It is. I will send it to Alan.
You ready?
I don't have a question so much as a observation here. I find it very entertaining to watch you work, and you're just dragging stuff around and putting it here, and oh yeah, I'll do this, and I'll change this variable name in the middle of a formula. And I'm always afraid to do stuff like that in a presentation, because especially a presentation that's being recorded, because it's forever then. And here I am making some mistake or something else. And but I just found that very entertaining. So,
well, just in case, John, I did practice a little bit just to because I figure. Yeah, I don't want to I need to find out if I only have a limited time if I fail, to know why I fail and then fix it, And then the other one too is usually when I'm doing this stuff, I'm listening to music. And then because I'm on the move on the music, I have been kind of accustomed to mess up and then fix it again, kind of like dancing with the spreadsheet a bit. You mean UDF? Yeah, UDF. Sorry, UDF. I don't know what I was saying. Good observation there, Victor Momo. Good one. See, I'm gonna fix the axis here. So yeah, something I could have caught up, but they wanted to show you guys also how it doesn't look if you don't fix the axis. There, I'm putting 33,000. And maybe I forgot to do this, but maybe on the number, I can format the date and make it a little bit more digestible. So I'll do MMMYY, and that should work it. There you go. So now you have a more legible axis there. And then again, the cool thing is that you can click around this and you can see how fast it's responding. And I say this because right now Excel is not recalculating this array that has 38,000 rows, but it is calculating one that has about 300, 296. So that's a spill range of 300 that it gets immediately immediately filter or update it. Try here now. Do you create these as templates? Oh, good question, Mark. I'm trying to get all these questions here. So yes, I did want to show an approach of working this as templates. So because you saw that I just copy and pasted the data, then that was, I guess you catch sort of my subliminal message of that you can build this, so you don't have to build it from scratch all over the place, because you do have to reference your arrays or your work and your slicers and all that. And that it's easier to find stuff when you're referencing the spill ranges into the chart. It's easier to find which one is it, 09 or 11 or array 12 or something like that. So yeah, I would recommend it, like, to start, if you're gonna go this this approach of dynamic arrays, charts with dynamic arrays, is to sort of build what are gonna be the templates, because again, you will see that everything is sort of dependent, and it can be dependent from a source, from one single place. In this case, this table. Everything that is here depends on what's on this table, this container. What other ones could have here? Thank you, Carlos. Look at my jaws. Well, Victor Momo, yesterday you blew my mind with take function. Because I'll reveal it here. Maybe there's a potential with the take function, because what is it? Let me show you here real quick. Yep, online courses. There we go, and then right here. While that's opening, let me look for another question here. Do you create this as template? Yep, I already answered that one. As awesome as this is Excel the right tool to plot this? It is not. No, it depends. Depends. Consulting answer there. It depends. Usually what happens is many people want to understand like the data. You can plot this in Power BI, but imagine you will have to do how many lines, how many DAX measures you have to do. You will have to do 128 DAX with calculate this, calculate this, calculate it. That's not possible, unfortunately, to date. But at least you can build it in Excel, and you have way flexibility than Power BI to add annotations, to do the highlighting easily, to maybe add more stuff that maybe is easier in Excel environment than Power BI. With Python and R, I am assuming a couple of lines of code and you get it. But I think more lines starts to get added, and that's the pattern that I see. Once you want to work on the details of the graph, then more lines of code come into play. So it depends. It depends how you want to work in what environment. Yeah, thank you, John. Yeah, it is a viable tool. I mean, especially especially that you can do some amazing graphics. And Jorge Camoes did it the manual way, and it was quite beautiful. And like that, something in Power BI is still impossible, like that. But maybe in R, Python, I'm assuming so, or DANF. I know that through DANF you can get to this. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Oh, Victor Momo here. The thing is, this was a course that I made, but there's a chart that if you wanted to Merrick Meadow with dynamic arrays, say in order to do the Merrick Meadow, you can only work with one array. I still haven't found a way where you will do separately the arrays for the stack, and the stacks, they play around width and length. And this is all coming from this array. So you will have to come through an array logic. Well, what I saw in your video was with the take function or with the XLOOKUP dynamic expandable approach, is that you can sort of build the Merrick Meadow, and the Merrick Meadow will kind of expand itself if you have more products and then more regions. And yeah, I mean, that's that you left me there very intrigued. So now I want to one day sit down and get some groovy music and do it and see if it's possible. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you. We'd love to start from the beginning, but I can You could have used values. Well, since the name of the variable, yep, name of the variable is not related to no. So things there, I'm separated. Thank you, John, for that one. Try the Excel labs adding for a long complex. Yes, he's correct. I mean, we could have seen a formula like this one, and let's do real quick. We could go grab Excel labs real quick while that's opening. I'll get to another question. Sometimes it takes a bit of time. Great presentation. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Mark. Dancing with the spreadsheet. Yeah, I already got used to it. Because there's a lot of messed up. I mean, sometimes the Excel crashes. He said, "Oh, there's 2 data points." Boom, it just blows up, and then start all over again. So yeah, for example, if I click there and I click open, and now, yep, oh, that's sexy. And I love that it adapts to the width of the interface there, so you can see it adapting if you make it wider too. And you can also undock it too. So if you can undock it, and then expand this. You can put it on top of the ribbon, and then you can have it handy. And yep, so good tip there, good tip, and good for promoting that Excel labs. Is Tableau an interactive Excel? Yeah, I mean, Tableau is $1,000 or $700 a year. Excel is free to a certain extent, but I also wanted to show that I wanted to pivot table slicer, because you can bring now this workbook to Excel Online and it will work. And Excel Online is sort of free if you just open an Outlook email and then work on Excel on the web, and that's it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Then next step is to build a single dynamic array. BStack, yeah. If you John, if you're talking about the Merrick method, that will kind of be the approach with BStack, because there's certain logics here that are not so. This is separated, and this is separated from what's here. This is constant a bit.
Well, what I even meant was the big chart that you did there. You can H-stack all your different columns, so you can have your period and your values and so forth. And you can even do something different with your highlighted series. And that would be in just a single dynamic array, and your chart will be based on that. And then when you went and changed from and you can do that without defining names that reference to the individual dynamic arrays like you've used.
Yeah,
and the chart will the same way the chart updates with a table when you add a row. It'll update when the dynamic array expands.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's what I was referring to. And of course, when you get to other kinds of charts that need, more of a grid rather than just columns, then it will help out in that too.
Yeah, but you know what? I kind of recommend that. I like the BStack approach that you mentioned, because I think you mentioned it on your article, the way how to set up your data to work it on charts. And I'll try to pull it out here, but if I'll find the array chart setup. But I think for anybody to really check out the article. The article is
of course. I like the way you start out and you say, well, here's part 1 of the formula, here's part 2, here's part 3, just to explain how it works, because I have to do that myself, because I can't conceptualize it all at once. So I build it in pieces, and it's like, okay, now what can I do? I can H-stack those together. I can V-stack a header row on top, and then the chart just works.
It's
dynamic.
Nice. Glad, because I figured that if I don't include those parts, then people will see this and it's like, okay, that looks fancy, but I don't know what he's doing.
And it was good. It was good the way you did the separate pieces.
Yep, and everybody's gonna receive the workbook with those pieces. I deleted it right now, but I might save this as maybe I'll put it with as another name, and I'll do with EU, okay, and then just keep it short, and that way you will get both of them. So this is the one with the European data,
the fancy,
the fancy one. I think I would recommend anybody to read this article from John, because it's really long. It might even become a book. I mean, if you ask me, but I mean, it has everything.
It's the first chapter of a book.
It's a fecha. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is how you have to think about plotting arrays in Excel. And I think you came out with this really late. I mean, 2021, and this should have been one of the first articles. In all honesty, you know.
Well, I teach my classes, and I spend more and more time on my classes doing this. And in fact, I'm doing another class tomorrow, and all I'm doing is like an hour just on this topic. What's chart data?
Nice.
And
what's chart data? Yeah.
I couldn't do it in a seminar like this because people would get bored halfway through. But if it's part of a class and other stuff builds on it, then it's good.
It's good. Yeah, no. Yeah, like this was like reading this was like reviewing all my scarves from learning how to make the data be plotted correctly, so all my tears and struggles, so it was good. It was good. I think let me see if I think Mark Proctor has a question, like how do you copy and paste from one data set to another? Then again, that's what you have to think. Like right here, you can see this green table is a Power Query table from this blue table. So maybe you want to start not from Power Query, maybe from a blue table, but you have to have your data already in a tabular format. So that way is kind of a good basis to build the rest, and the rest come from there. And again, one chart that kind of like got my attention, it was this one, because somebody contacted me and say, hey, we used your template. I mean, hope you don't mind. I'm like, no, at all. It's already for free. I mean, use it. But they copied their data like that. They kind of understood this table. This is not a Power Query table. And they say, okay, we have this dimension. Yes, we have this dimension. Yes, we have this, and that. And then they copy and pasted, updated the pivot tables, and that's it. Then they got their slope chart, because that was sort of what they wanted to show. They wanted to have a slope chart, and they saw the video and all that, and then have it highlighted and then focus and all that. And but that's sort of the approach, Mark. I mean, you have to work with a table, and then also my recommendation will be here. So you see here how the name of the columns are group, age range, very contextual. Maybe what you can do for a template version, you can do dimension 1, dimension 2, dimension 3. So it starts to feel very generic for template purposes. Yeah, that will be my recommendation. I see no more questions, Alan, but I'll try to go up and see if anybody, if I skip a question, just make it again, and definitely
I don't think there's any more questions, mate.
We'd love to answer it. I think what's ahead, I mean, just want to share that there's a couple of charts that are like a work in progress, and I think one of them was want to share. I mean, in review is this one right here. What is it? La Linea. If you guys know Roberto Mensa, he used to make some interesting graphs. And I'm also working on the dynamic array version of that. I still haven't continued too much, but it is cool. I mean, I'm thinking of a storytelling with charts, and like that's cool. I mean, that's a line chart right there. But I mean, right now I think it's connected to a table, but eventually it should be its own spill range. It's just that there's some stuff that Roberto Mensa and the Frankenstein come up with that are a bit like crazy, and you want to understand the why. Like, why do they set up like that? If you check out their work, I mean, it's quite impressive. But it's still a work in progress. And I think another one over there, bungees. Oh, this one is from John Capora. He came out with a nice chart that it was this. And we can also make it with dynamic arrange and have the bungees be like expandable, and also vertically, if you have more items, it will expand itself, but have the bungees adapt to the sort of the variance, So that's also an idea there that I haven't really I kind of understood his logic, very simple, but I really haven't started like plotting it. And yeah, there's many more, but some of them are still very on the head, and I don't know if I get to them. I think this one I do want to get to arrival times. Maybe this is now a famous chart for many, or not this one, but what's it called? Julie's Mary train. Maybe we'll find it like that. And images. There we go. It's this one. This is a famous chart. It's a very old chart, but it's famous. And yeah, I mean, you can do it also with dynamic arrays. I'm just struggling with a bit on the stops, but if anybody wants to collaborate, more than welcome. I did have a great experience collaborating with somebody from Africa, from Nigeria, Bolaji, who helped me with this chart right here. And it was amazing. I was like, I posted it, and he like commented, and then back and forth on comments and say, hey, you just want to jump into a Zoom and just work it out. We didn't know each other at all. I didn't even know who this guy is. And he doesn't use Excel that much. He used Power BI. But somehow we got to the solution, and it was this one right here. So reference dumbbells. So I'm really open to collaborative work if anybody's interested, and definitely, expand horizons and all that. So yeah, no more. I can keep talking, Ellen. So I gotta stop. I gotta stop.
On that note, I'm going to close down the YouTube stream. So this will still be going, but I think it's a good. There's a question in the chat, Carlos. I'll close down the YouTube stream while it's happening.
Okay. So the last question there, I'm scrolling down. Have you got a good Sankey